Now, imagine that movies are made that only engage in five senses, but also make your thoughts and emotions synchronize with what's happening on the screen with the movie's experience, hearing, seeing, tasting, and suddenly begin to feel the character's emotions and thinking the character's thoughts. The character says, I'm so nervous, and then you start shivering, and suddenly insecurity wells up inside of you. And now you have a full dimension going on as the movie is playing on, and you get plugged in carefully, and by the end you don't know yourself anymore. That would be the object of no object. It's not synchronized with the experiencer. Any place in your awareness falls with a part of the movie once the movie gets control over the thoughts it's over. There is no you in here saying, I don't like this update, I want to leave. And that's a question like this, independent of thought, and your thoughts have been taking over and have been taken over by the movie. Now you're completely lost and you spent time with this tooth spada, and how will you get over or get in it? As scary as it sounds, that is your predicament in life because all of the objects you're aware of are synchronized and sucked. No longer awareness separates you from the object of thought. The emotion moves in accordance to the totality of the absorption. Uh, Unless you're really seated in the witness, then you're not back at being aware of the one watching the witch. And that means a lot to be lost in this way. The lost soul is the consciousness that has drooped into the draped place where one human unfolds emotion, sensory perceptions of sight, sound, touch, smell that are all synchronized and summarized, and you find it in a room that interruptees can all message these betweenness and are capable of focusing on the spot too closely. When the consciousness gets sucked in, it's no longer knowing itself as itself. It knows itself as the object it's experiencing. In other words, you're perceiving yourself as these. You think you're a sum of your learned experiences. And that's what you would think all of this in this advanced can't low. Be okay. Just pushing the button and you yourself are no longer there. You're extracted. Remember, your self concept is just activating the collection of thoughts about your Paul White, likewise, and your emotions are watching the movie through the visual, auditory perspective. At that point of aspect, your only being that remains the same in the consciousness that is aware of these shameless movies. Immediately, bonding thoughts and emotions are replaced of your thoughts and lights, thinking like they could match. All of the emotions could match. Everything looks like, smells like, tastes like, and feels like it did before. But that doesn't change the fact that you're just something of conscious crab. And it's all just an object of consciousness. You're just consciousness. And the differences of rebranding is centering the person who's not being, well, conscious is simply the focus, conscious at risk. Show how on the screen, and that's how we weave it in. It's the same awareness, the same neither pure, impure, your consciousness is not centered within, it becomes totally focused on the object of consciousness. This kind of process is centered and makes me feel so annoyed and mistrusting. However, the consciousness is always full of conscious crypts. Your awareness is being independent of the inner objects that are happening. That's been. Let's go on to what happens instead of being you have turned on light God. You're always contemplating something, but this time you're contemplating the source of contemplating. This is a true meditation, not medication, and beyond the act as simple one-pointed concentration for the deepest meditation you've ever experienced in your life. You must only have the ability to focus your consciousness completely on the object, and you must also have the ability to make the purple labels and highlighter state of focus on the consciousness pad. When you contemplate the nature of that self, you're meditating. And that's why the highest stats does return to the root of your being and the simple awareness of being aware once you become conscious of the state itself, attaining totality, being awakened. It's really just the most natural thing in the world. Here I am. Here's what I am. Here's what I was. And you've been on the couch watching TV, perhaps. So you're totally immersed in the show and you forgot who you were. You were someone who shook someone else, and the awareness that you were sitting on the couch watching TV, nothing else changed. You simply stooped, and the sense of self of your particular objectives and wokeness, that's your spirituality. That's the nature of yourself. And as you put back this into layman terms, you're not even human. You're just happening and watching one. You will begin to have deeper experiences within your own center of consciousness. These will be deep, intuitive, and perhaps somewhat of an experience of true nature. And you'll record and you'll find that you're tremendously expansive. That gets it gets so purely pulled back into this electric state of purity, probably rubbery, lightning. Likewise, instead of just focusing so intently on one human's mistakes, you can move from the finite to the infinite, from this consciousness of the upward spring. It's one of the great mysteries in life, and the inner energy is another. It's actually the shame that puts you down, and we study the energy of this outward motion, unwanted emotion. Does it come up to disturb you? Every aspect of these acts is an expenditure of energy. Creating thoughts, holding on to thoughts, recalling them, and requiring a tremendous expenditure of energy. And where does this all come from? Where are you falling in love, excited, inspired by something, discussing not the source? And the best way to examine this is to be simple. Let's say that you're in your inner state of energy cleanse, and you sprawl up all over the floor. You can hardly get out of bed, and you just sleep all the time. You must be eating because there are boxes lying around, but nothing seems to help you. You just have no clue. Your friends invite you out, but you decline. You are simply too tired to do anything. And most people have been there at some time in their lives, and you feel that you have no way out. It's where you guys are going with this tune. You're staying there forever. And just suddenly the phone rings, and your girlfriend, that's right, the one who dumped you 3 months ago, she's crying out and says, "Oh my God, do you remember who you were with me? I just feel so terrible stalking you. And the real love, and you're the only one that I've ever felt in my life. Would you please forgive me? Could you ever forgive me? And can I come over and see you again? Now, how are you doing it? So seriously, how does it take? It takes enough energy to do the simplest. Uh, Clean the apartment, take the shower, get out of bed, and put some color back on your face. It's practically instantaneous. How does this happen? You were completely drained at some point. 4 months, you had no energy. Then, out of nowhere, in a matter of seconds, there's so much energy that blows you away. You can't just ignore these enormous shifts in your energy levels.